Joining us now, Tammy Bruce, president of the Independent Women's Voice and Fox News contributor, and Dorian Davis, libertarian social commentator. Tammy, in reading the New York Times article about this piece, I was surprised that it goes way back to the day after the election when people at ABC got together and said, hey, Donald Trump just won. Does that mean we are not programming for an audience of Americans that wants to watch our shows?
Yeah, I think it became pretty clear, considering the decline of viewership for television across the board. And even ABC executives expressed shock that the ratings were what they were. Maybe they considered it a happy accident, but the fact of the matter is Americans in general want shows that portray them and portray them fairly. The Roseanne show, I think, worked because, in fact, most American families have these kinds of divisions. We're tired, perhaps, of the coasts pretending that they know what we want and giving us lots of violence, things that aren't funny, and things that mock middle America, that mock conservatives. So it's a fair program. Besides, beautifully written, very funny. These are things that transcend politics and partisanship. So it's a very exciting time. And in addition to that, these numbers also, we hear that the Fox Broadcasting Network is considering Last Man Standing, bringing back that incredibly popular show that ABC canceled last year. So they clearly weren't necessarily connected with what Americans are interested in, but there's a sense that even bringing back that program would be terrifically successful at this point.
Dorian, is this a pro-Trump show?
Well, that's an interesting question. You know, this show works kind of like a Rorschach test. You can watch it from a pro-Trump standpoint and see that the Roseanne Connor character has fallen on some hard times, but she's a good person. Look at how her character accepts her fashion-fluid grandson, Mark. But you can also watch it from an anti-Trump standpoint and see that whenever Roseanne Connor's character parrots those Trump talking points, make America great again, fake news, it's supposed to be a joke. So there's an appeal to both sides of that political divide, which is one reason I think the ratings were so gangbusters.
Kind of fascinating, Tammy, the way, the ABC executives gather out there in Hollywood and say, wow, is there something going on in the middle of this country that we don't really have our finger on? Here's part of what the New York Times wrote. It said, the top markets for the debut read like a political pollster's red state checklist. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Liberal enclaves like New York and Los Angeles did not crack the top 20. What does that tell you, Tammy?
Well, what it tells you, again, that the rest of America, other than the coasts, have been abandoned. And now suddenly there may be some recognition. But the media, the legacy media, is looking at this like the other day when they found a baby Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. And they were perplexed and excited that they found something new. This is not new to us. And I think that this is another point about consumerism. Americans have turned away from television, but will come back if they're given programming that works. It's why this network actually is, of course, #1 and dominates, because there is programming that matters, that provides something they're looking for, information. The same for entertainment television. If people want to escape, one thing I'd say is that my listeners on radio thought it was very political, the first episode. We're hoping that maybe that was to establish the characters and it will be a little less political. Yeah. But with the renewal for the second season, everyone must be very excited. Roseanne certainly is thrilled, and I think everyone surrounding her is too.
The producers say it'll be less political as it goes on. Dorian, very quickly, should we expect imitators now?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. As Tammy mentioned, you're hearing about Last Man Standing reboots, and this is part of ABC's Heartland strategy to appeal more to that missing audience that hasn't been served in sitcoms previously. So I expect imitators.
Dorian Davis and Tammy Bruce, our media panel today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.